Has served as an aide to Governor Don Carcieri. He was the Republican lieutenant governor nominee 4 years ago. Aaron, welcome in. Next to you is Elaine, Pelino, a former entertainer, producer, magazine publisher, making her first run for public office. Welcome to you, Elaine. The format is simple now. For some of our segments, I'll pose a question, and each candidate will have up to a minute to respond, followed by some shared discussion times. That's when they can go back and forth. Remember, it's a debate, not an interview. We don't want any filibustering, though we want vigorous exchanges and complete answers if we can. At some point, we'll switch to a lightning round a little later in the broadcast, and we'll hit them tick by tick by tick. All right. Our producers are in the back keeping time. We'll do our best, but it's largely up to the candidates to kind of be mindful whether they're falling behind or jumping ahead, and we'll do our best. All right, let's begin with the news of the day. By the way, in order of the draw, Elaine, Pelino, you get the first question. News of the day: the governor just nominated Judge Matos to be the next Supreme Court judge. Surprised some people are not going with Speaker Shekarchi. Elaine, was that the right choice, and was it wrong of Speaker Shekarchi to seek that office?
Well, good for Judge Matos, because first of all, I just want to ask something real quick to Aaron. Now that I'm here in person, would you like to apologize for your remarks?
Elaine, I'll let you get to that. Just stick to the question. How about that?
We'll talk
Let's
later.
talk about Judge Matos.
All right, Judge Matos. Hey, you know what? Dan did something right for a change. Yep. He actually picked someone that was waiting their turn and deserved the judgeship. And as far as Shekarchi goes, you know, he was playing the good old boy card, and I'm glad he didn't get in. Okay,
when you get to pick, if you prevail in the general election, if you get past this, will you have a litmus test for a judge? For example, one of the candidates was very, very pro-life, and the governor was asked about that. Did you take a pass on a pro-life candidate because they wouldn't get confirmed? What's your thinking on that?
I'm pro-life, so that would work for me.
So do you have a litmus test?
Litmus test, as long as they have good moral character. You know, and they wait their turn. Would
pro-choice preclude someone from your consideration, being pro-choice?
You know what? I'm a constitutional conservative and a Christian, so I would probably say no.
Okay, that's about a minute. Aaron Guckian, let's go to you. Same order of questioning. Judge Matos gets the nod. What do you think of Judge Matos, and was it wrong for Shekarchi to seek the seat to begin with?
Well, good evening, Gene, and congratulations to Judge Matos. Also, I think we have a revolving door for a reason, that rule. We've had a couple judges that have been able to figure it out in regards to, finding a loophole in the process. I think the legislature needs to really kind of fix that loophole so we don't have these questions in the future. In regards to Speaker Shekarchi, he put his name in, he was vetted, and he didn't get it this time. So, but anyway, congratulations to Judge Matos. And I really encourage the legislature to try to fix this loophole.
All right. Do you think Judge McKee had a litmus, Governor McKee had a litmus test? There was a pro-choice, a pro-life candidate, Judge DeAmber, very strongly pro-life. Do you think he skipped there for that? And would you have a litmus test?
Well, I know Judge DeAmber, Governor Carcieri, put her on the bench. I remember that day. And a litmus test would be very simple. What are your qualifications? What's your background? And can you do the job? And I think that sometimes we deviate from those points. But as you know, these social issues have been settled, and I think it's important to just get the best judge for that position.
Right. A pro-choice candidate, you would allow for consideration of a pro-choice candidate?
Yeah, I think you have to be open to everybody. Yeah. I'm pro-life personally.
Okay.
And I've said that for the record. I'm Irish Catholic. And also, those social issues have been settled. And as governor, I always value that particular position. Thank you.
Elaine, have those social issues been settled?
The social issues
of abortion, a woman's right to choose, pro-life, pro-choice. Has that been settled in your mind?
It has been settled by the General Assembly years ago, and they're the ones that made the final decision. Even if, as governor, I vetoed it 3 times, it would go back to them and they could pass it. So it isn't in the wheelhouse of the governor. But if it comes up again and I'm governor, I will address it.
You're personally pro-life?
I'm pro-life.
And would you be a pro-life activist, Governor? Would you try to upset things or turn things around?
You know what? If we decide in this state, if they decide to go to that full-term abortion like they just did in Massachusetts, I would be very active on that.
All right, very good. Elaine, by the way, would you just move your hair away from that microphone? We want to make sure that we hear everything you say. All right, Elaine, you're anxious to say something to Aaron, and I just wanted to get past our first question. What is it you want to say to Aaron?
Well, I wanted to ask him why you haven't apologized to me in person. You ran into me a few times this close and even closer, walked right by me. Would you mind apologizing now?
Apologize for what?
No,
you're making the allegation.
Okay.
Apologize for what?
For ageist and sexist remarks.
He made remarks about your appearance?
Yes.
He apologized on the
and
radio.
I'm not bad for my age, I guess.
He apologized on the radio and on
but
TV.
not to me. I ran into him a couple of times, and I was waiting for him to say something.
All right, Aaron, go ahead. She says that wasn't enough.
This has been settled. I think that I've already paid apology. I make an apology for that remark. I think the citizens of Rhode Island really want to get to, what's going on with the condition. We need massive change here in Rhode Island.
And they want to know if their governor is going to be a person of good moral character, too.
Well, again, it was an issue that was settled. I already apologized. I think we can pivot now and talk about the issues that are concerning all Rhode Islanders, specifically the taxes, the fees, the traffic,
We're going to get to
the
all
bridge,
of that.
everything. Yes.
He just, if I were to quote him accurately, he just said, "I apologize for that." Is that enough, Elaine?
Yeah, you know what? I forgive him as a Christian in that sense, but I know who he is now. And like I said, as far as I believe a governor should have really good moral character.
Well, who is he? What do you mean by that? You just can't let that hang there. What do you mean?
What is he? He's someone that just says things that are inappropriate and shows that he really doesn't respect women.
Well, that's a pretty serious allegation. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Aaron. You need to address
allegation.
that.
Everyone knows me in Rhode Island. I have a wife and 3 daughters. My parents are here. It was I said one thing, and I think we can get tired at times when we're running. And when you address things, you move on. I think that the big thing was I conceded the point, and that's it. So I'd love to just kind of talk about what's really affecting the citizens of Rhode Island.
I'm going to move on, but it was germane to the whole general conversation. Our Aaron Guckian, second question for you. Whatever the Republicans have been selling for years has not sold in Rhode Island. On many levels. The last real Republican governor was Governor Carcieri. We've had no senators, no members of Congress, no general offices. What are you selling this time around that's going to be different? Aaron Guckian.
Well, I think we've been conditioned for some reason in this state that this is okay. It's not okay. And as I said, we need big change. We're the state of twos. Too many taxes, too many fees, too many speed cameras. The electric bills are skyrocketing. And everyone just can't take it. Enough's enough. Everyone's fed up, and they need a change. Rhode Island works smarter as we work directly with the frontline and union workers. When they find savings and fix systems, they get a revenue share. The rest lowers taxes and fees. Yeah. Powered by modern technology and AI and smarter cities, it's a 24/7, 365 anonymous idea portal. So these state workers, process improvement, giving their ideas, leveraging AI, and we can save money. My position and my commitment to the state of Rhode Island is I will save you 10% off this $15.2 billion budget in year 1.
Okay, Elaine Pelino, again, the message has been stale. Nobody's buying it for years. What are you selling this time around? Is it the same old repackaged Republican ideas, or do you have something new for us?
What I'm going to sell is a new Republican government in Rhode Island, a strong conservative government, and we are one election away from becoming a socialist state. So I am going to be the break the wall between socialism and Rhode Island. I'm here to protect that. And again, I want to start hiring merit-based employees in all the departments. And number 3 is I'm going to have a Department of Accountability that will go through every single department, starting with the DOT, and the forensic accountants will see where the money was spent, what happened, and how, and that's how we can cut the budget too. All I have to do is look at that budget, have some forensic accountants go through it, and cut the pork and cut the everything that should not be there. I'm sure there's a lot of golden deals in there for people.
Aaron, sounds like a Carcieri's big audit that she's talking about.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about.
There, you have specifics for us. And
I'm talking about them.
Don't get us in the weeds. People are listening. What's your big idea?
We're talking about the modern day big audit. So if you're a consultant, we have $600 million worth of consultants baked into this $15.2 billion budget. If you're a consultant, you go to Warwick and you save $100,000. Typically, you get 5 to 10%. What I'm saying is, why don't we work directly with the Rhode Island talent? My father's out there. He's a local 51 plumber. My mom's a respiratory therapist. Where are you going to get your answers? From the front lines. Why are we not asking the people, the teachers, the nurses, the doctors, have them come and don't tell me what you can't do, tell me what you can do. And it's amazing what's going on right now at these smarter cities. We're a city-state, we're 1 million people. We can save a ton of money, and then we can start pivoting to the future.
All right, so you want to give me your specifics again? Go ahead.
Yeah,
Recap it and give me a specific. Your big idea is?
Yeah, so Rhode Island works smarter. You work directly with the frontline and union workers.
Yep.
When they find savings and fix systems, they get a revenue share, they get rewarded. The rest lowers taxes and fees. It's powered by AI, and there's a 24/7, 365 anonymous idea portal, so they can give those ideas and not have any fears. And it'll be flushed out, and then we can save those dollars and add them and use them for the future.
Okay, Elaine, you've been in the corporate world, private sector. He's talking about you'll get a percentage of what you cut, what you save. That works for business. Would that work for you in the state?
No, because, again, the most important thing in Rhode Island to me isn't working with the state unions. The most important thing is going through each department, do performance evaluations on almost every employee, and seeing who's performing well and who is extra. Because there's a lot of people that get, especially DOT, so much overtime, so many people on one job, too many contracts that are out of the office. We have to start making sure every department handles everything they need.
Elaine, some would say the most important thing is working with the unions in Rhode Island, that as much as you'd like to fantasize about not, they control it, and you need, some might say that's the most important thing. Go ahead, I'll let you revise that answer.
I'm a fair person, but I guess what I'm saying is there's so much wrong with Rhode Island in the spending, and we don't even know where the money goes, and our budget gets bigger and bigger every year. And that's why I want to have not just, merit-based department heads, but I want to have that department of accountability so we can go in and see where we can cut corners and still work. We're going to be nice to the people, that the ones who work hard stay, and we'll be very good to them.
Yeah, Elaine, do you think you could cut taxes?
You know what? There's ways we can cut taxes. We just, again, we have to look at each department where we can, cut things. Yep. But, Rhode Island is just not affordable all the way around. We get taxed on everything. So I would love to see the property tax cut. I know it's each town
largely local.
It's by the town. Yep. But again, it all goes to schools and things like that. We just have to find out. We can't keep taxing people on every single thing they do.
How about cutting the sales tax?
You know what?
That's been proposed by other candidates. Would you like to do that?
I'd like to get rid of it.
Want to get rid of it?
I would love to get rid of it, because look how much money people would spend. Yeah. Or at least we can get it equal or a little bit less than Massachusetts and Connecticut, and then instead of going there to buy all their large ticket items, they'll stay in Rhode Island.
Okay, well, we just had the sales tax holiday in Massachusetts. Some people crossed the line. Take the first part. Much as you may dislike negotiating with the unions, but they may be the most important thing you have to do as governor. Is it not a fact of life, Aaron?
Yeah, I didn't say I dislike working with the unions. There's expectations and agreements. Yeah. So if you make an agreement, for example, and you have an incentivized workforce, and let's say you agree with the AFL-CIO, and you'd say, okay, if you save these dollars, which we can do very quickly with the augmented AI, they would then say, okay, maybe you put it to the COLAs. Maybe you put it to the pension to support that pension, which isn't a bad thing, especially because it's not funded correctly. Second, you can take those dollars that we save. I worked in healthcare. I was the executive director of the Rhode Island Dental Association. I was a leading advocate for oral health. That was my last job. And what I could do and what I could see is we have a healthcare hurricane, ladies and gentlemen. And I know that if we could start to incentivize lower reimbursement rates, and as you know, I passed the legislation that's being analyzed by the Health Insurance Commissioner, and I implore him to give that answer to the legislature on or before October 2026. But if I could just finish one more thing.
Just about 30 seconds. Go ahead,
yeah, if we could have, let's just say most of these doctors, when they graduate, they have a lot of medical debt. Yep. We could do $250,000, $50,000 over 5 years, and if it will go directly to their debt. We could actually work directly with Brown Medical, too, to keep people here. Okay. If they leave the state, there's a clawback provision. But I think if we get those savings and we use that to not only take doctors, but also they're doing some of it with nursing and across medical.
Okay. Elaine, I want to make sure you're getting equal time here. We've moved into kind of a healthcare discussion. We can't get primary doctors. He just outlined kind of an incentive program. What's your incentive to attract more doctors to Rhode Island to stay in practice?
My incentive to attract more doctors to Rhode Island is make, again, Rhode Island more affordable. Because it is true, the reimbursement programs for doctors, 20 up to 40% lower than they would be in Massachusetts or Connecticut. So what's going to keep someone from going and opening up a practice right over the state line? And also with Medicaid, we are one of the lowest reimbursement states for Medicaid. And a lot of doctors don't take it anymore. So I also think telemedicine and telehealth will help a lot in that situation. Yeah. So instead of overcrowding all the emergency rooms and urgent cares with small things like the sore throat or some small, minor ailment, they can just go on and call a doctor or get online and get checked.
Do you have a plan for tuition reimbursement? Do you have a plan for a medical school maybe someday? Do you like those ideas?
I don't want a medical school someday because here's the thing. Rhode Island has Brown Hospital already, Brown University Teaching Hospital. And again, what do they do as soon as they get out? They go to greener pastures. They go to a state, like a red state, that money's treated better and they get more bang for their buck. But also, too, to go ahead and fund another hospital, teaching hospital, we're going to end up in the same boat like 28 studios like we ended up with that soccer stadium. Where if things don't work out and we don't have enough students, we get the bill. Let
me just understand this. So all this grand talk about a medical school at URI, you don't want it?
I'm talking about another teaching hospital.
Well, then I don't want to put words in your mouth. Right. The notion of a medical school at URI, you don't want that?
Let's stick with what we have. We have plenty of doctors that come here.
I'll take it as a no. Aaron, the notion of a medical school at URI to help grow more doctors who would then stay in Rhode Island. That's a simple yes or no?
Correct. They're already doing a feasibility study. Yeah. I think my biggest concern is where they're going to do their residency program and their rounds. I think that Florida State University, when they came out, Florida's a major medical school down there. They worked with the federally qualified health centers. They call them FQHCs. It's a little bit of alphabet soup, but we have plenty of them around the state. We have to get unique. We have to use those rural health dollars. The president put $1 billion over 5 years in the rural side. We can use some of those opioid fine dollars. We could put them on the left part of the state. I think we could use so many different things. I think the biggest problem is we have patchwork system. We need to get organized, we need to get the right people in the room, and we need to accelerate as quickly as possible. Because last point, my daughter Lauren, 23, she had that E. coli thing with the lettuce, and she was sick a couple times. We had to take her to the hospital in the emergency room, and there's literally people that are like all in the hallways, and they're not getting taken care of. So I think we can also have like satellite places that we can start to look at, especially on the western part of the state where most of the rural health dollars will be deployed.
I don't think we should touch the rural health dollars. Right now, we should just keep that, and for clinics. And again, right now, we need mental illness clinics. Yeah. We need clinics for drug abuse and drug rehabilitation. So I think if we're going to do that, we should go to the communities, like even Woonsocket, and instead of giving them free needles and encourage them to keep using, and then the Narcan to wake them up if they OD, we need to start having some kind of treatment centers for people who are mentally ill.
You like the idea of a safe injection site on the other end of town over here where a drug addict can go in and shoot up under supervision so that they don't overdose? Do you like that idea?
No, I think we need to help them. And the ones that can't be helped, the ones that are too far gone, like the people that are mentally ill or on drugs, and they're the ones that are causing havoc to themselves and others, and the danger of being on the street, there should be a place where they can be taken care of and medicated, just like they do to a dementia patient, and make sure they're okay. But also, I believe we do need clinics to help them get off, because there's a lot of people that could probably be helped, and maybe some work programs for them.
Okay. Aaron, do you like, I'm going to let you get to that, but the notion of a safe injection site, it's up and running. It's the first in this country. Do you approve of that?
Well, let me just answer one question. It's just to be clear, $156 million have been allocated from the rural health dollars. It's over 5 years, so you have to deploy those dollars. And that's important that you're following, the federal government and what they're doing, especially in conjunction with state government. In regards to safe injection sites, I'm 10 years sober. I think that there's a lot of different ways.
What does that mean?
I haven't had a drink in 10 years.
Did you have a problem prior to that?
Well, yes, and I think it's so important that people seek the help that they can. And right now, I don't believe that the people that need it the most are getting it. Now, safe injection sites, I don't know if I think that might be an enabler. I think the best thing would be to try to get a satellite that we could use in regards to get these savings and the rural health and the opioid dollars. You could use like those Walgreens and have satellites. Take a little of the pressure off these emergency rooms. Again, pilot programs. But the dollars are there. And I think the most important thing I want to tell the state of Rhode Island is, if you have a Republican governor, that governor can talk to the president. And we haven't had that in a long time since my governor and, of course, Senator Chafee. We are one-sided. And the president is going to be the president. And so it's important that we negotiate with the president, we talk to the president, especially in the same party.
Okay, go ahead, Elaine.
No.
What did you want to say?
Are you MAGA? Because I never heard you, I know you voted for him 3 times, but I've never heard you really talk about Donald Trump and all his policies. I'm 100% MAGA. So again, anything we can work with to open up the money and communications to the federal government, whether it's from Donald Trump or any other department, we need to do that.
Okay, so you just said you're 100% MAGA.
Yes.
Wear the hat, you're with them 100%.
Yeah, I almost wore it tonight, but I said
you're not afraid of saying that. No matter who you might offend in Rhode Island, you're good with it.
I didn't want to miss my hair tonight.
Okay.
No.
What is Aaron is not 100% MAGA? He's not MAGA enough?
No.
No. Expand upon that a little bit. What do you mean by that?
Because he flip-flops. It depends on the room he's in, where he thinks, if people are more, not a Donald Trumper.
Most Republicans in Rhode Island have been far from MAGA. Most of them have been centrists, the Chafees, and on and on. They're Republican when they have to, but they're largely centrist. So doesn't that play better in Rhode Island than a MAGA?
You know what does MAGA mean? It makes Make America Great Again, which is something that we need to do. And also, he's a brilliant businessman. If he runs the federal government like a well-oiled business machine, if Rhode Island was governed like that, which I would love to do, and follow in his footsteps and any programs that he has for us, I'd be proud to say a MAGA.
You know what that means. MAGA means you're dyed in the wool, you're with him. You wear the hat, you believe in him. You're MAGA. It's become a noun. You're MAGA. Right?
Well, whatever you want to call it. It basically means I believe in our president. I love his, domestic policies here, and I love how he runs the country like a well-oiled business machine.
Okay, Aaron, you're not MAGA enough.
Yeah,
you think you're going to pick up the phone and call him? She says, "I'll get him on the phone faster than you."
I guess so. Maybe she has those connections. But bottom line is, I am the endorsed Republican, and I'm very proud of that. And I won that a few weeks ago, and once you get that, then you get the momentum. I'm a Rhode Island Republican, and I'm concerned about Rhode Island. In regards to the president, I'm a Republican. I will work with the party. I'll work with the president. In addition, we've had so many Republican governors here, Governor Kucheri, Governor Almond, great mentors. They all, hit bumps in the road. In addition, Governor Baker, and so many New England Republicans. And I think it's really important that we look at who's going to win in November, who has the qualifications, who's done this before. As you know, I won day of last time and lost on the ballots 75% to 25%.
That was Lieutenant Governor running against Sabina Matos.
That's not true.
Listen, you
need to get your facts
You forgot
correct.
Senator Chafee, again, another centrist Republican. You want to tell Elaine maybe those kind of Republicans work better than MAGA Republicans? And is that the kind you're going to be, a more of a centrist Rhode Island, New England Republican?
Yeah, I think that the bottom line is this. We have a Republican primary, and it's going to be very important, and I really need your vote. It's September 9th. and early voting starts
Aaron,
August
save it for the
20th.
closing statements. We got a ways to go. Yeah, save it for the closing.
Talk later.
Elaine, back to you. We were talking about a safe injection. It leads us nicely to the homeless issue, because many homeless are addicted to drugs, and some say that's the root cause, not a lack of affordable housing. What do you believe to be the root cause of homelessness, and what will you do to solve it, or at least make it better? Solving it is impossible. Make it better.
The root cause of most homelessness, there's like two. There's a third one, but that's not that that many. But it is mental illness and it's drug abuse. So if we can start having programs again, I know Butler has an outpatient for people that using drugs or they overdose or try to commit suicide. But we need to have inpatient facilities where people can go, and like I said, if they're in a position where they're dangerous to themselves and other people and to the public, then they should be institutionalized, but in a good way with them, taken care of. But anybody else, they just need to have a clinic or someplace where they can go clean up, and then maybe even have some vocational programs to help.
Don't we have that, Elaine? Don't we have clinics and residential treatment centers?
It must not be working because
are
they're
day shelters. We don't have day shelters. We have shelter room, but they kick them out at 9 o'clock, maybe 8 o'clock, and you spend the day in the library.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There should be a place where they can stay overnight and get treatment and maybe stay there 30 to 60 days and see what happens. But also, the other thing is some people are just down in their luck temporarily. So we should, again, if that's where they are and they're looking just for day shelters to stay someplace, and they'll go sleep in their car, there should be programs where we can help them get back on their feet. Maybe little group homes of a few men and women that could work and be put back into society.
Aaron, root cause of homelessness and your plan to make it better.
Well, I think we need a public-private partnership, and that's why Rhode Island works smarter. When you get those savings, you can start to allocate it. On the other side, they just keep talking about taxing, and they don't save. And I know that people right now are crushed, and when you're in it, you can't see it. I know people working 2, 3 jobs, and what happens is you start to drink at it. You start to smoke at it. You start to gamble at it. And what I think is we could have is a veterans village. We could have modular homes because of the $76 billion procurement that's going down an electric boat. Modular homes, pallet structures, wraparound services to support veterans and National Guard that need to work. And I think we could do that with labor. I think we could do that with teachers and possibly nurses. I think we could do a Patriots Village. Yeah. There was something called the Turnkey Program that LBJ, again, if you listen, please, I didn't interrupt you, thank you. President Johnson had a turnkey program that traveled with Richard Nixon, and it gave private developers a straight shot on how to do Section 8. We could do the same thing in regards to the southwestern part of the state. We'd have to work with the towns. It would be a crawl, walk, run process. But that's another way, these wraparound services of mental health and support for the taxpayer, not low-income housing, but for the people that are protecting us on a daily basis and abroad.
Fair to say we're doing a little thinking out loud here. We're running through some scenarios, but you just said, how are you going to pay for that?
Right. Again, more taxpayers' money. I think a big thing that would help us if we were able to take the illegals out of Rhode Island. There's 40 to 80,000, some living all over the state. A lot of them are living in low-income housing. And like I said, on the first day, I would have sanctuary state status ended. Even though we're not officially a sanctuary state, President Trump has deemed us one. So I would do an executive order to have that done. Then I do another executive order to have the state police work with ICE to remove as many as possible, especially the criminal ones. And then that would free housing, a lot of it in Section 8 and low-income housing for the veterans who really gave their all.
Now, you see what's going on with ICE when they try to grab a dangerous criminal. They're met with protesters. Sometimes they're chased out of town.
It's awful.
You've got the mayor of Providence insisting you can't park your car here and you can't do this. And he's ordered his police not to cooperate with ICE in most cases. Only under the letter of the law. And you're talking about going beyond that. In other words, a criminal is one thing, but you're talking about removing illegal immigrants in general? How would you do that?
Well, again, there are people here that have been abusing our wonderful benefits. People come, not only just them, but people come from all over the country because Rhode Island has one of the best benefit plans where they get more money, they get more perks in Rhode Island. So if you have illegals and they're getting, and it's been proven, they do get housing, they do get SNAP, they get welfare, there's a lot of programs they're on, and anybody that's abusing the system that's not supposed to be on, they should leave. They should be taken out too.
Okay.
Again, it takes away from seniors, it takes away from veterans.
The Democrats will dispute that list that you gave, but it's your debate. I'll let it stay. I'm not going to fact check every item there. But again, in general, you would have a movement to remove illegal immigrants from Rhode Island.
Yes.
Am I understanding this?
Yes, and the state police still would have...
And the state police would be involved?
Well, yeah, because that's who the governor can work with, the state police. I can't do anything about the town police. That's up to the mayors of the towns.
Yeah.
But anytime there's a state court, if someone had done a crime and they're being released from a state court, the state police can take them.
Okay.
Now, they can't go in Providence, but, you know, we can work around that.
Aaron, what do you make of that? I guess you'd call it a bold plan? What do you make of what she just said?
Well, I'm here in Rhode Island, so I'm going to talk about what we can do in Rhode Island. I'm very familiar with the office and the powers that you have for the governor. I think the first step is, one, I know that the ICE agents are going to be getting those cameras. And once they'll get those cameras, just like they have them in Cranston and different municipalities, I think that will open everything up because then it will be transparent. And in addition, you want to get the violent offenders, right? I have 3 daughters. We've seen what's going on all over the country when they open the borders. You know, people getting murdered, raped, and there's many, many victims. In addition, you have to work with them, but you also have to have guardrails. You have to ensure that the people that are here, that they have a way of getting to citizenship. We have to encourage that. We have to work with the nonprofit community because we still need workers. We need to work with the visas. And everything here is patchwork. We need to streamline services, and we can do it so easily, ladies and gentlemen. If we just use Anthropic, these smarter cities, they can accelerate it, go through the efficiencies, specifically if those frontline and union workers
Aaron,
are on
let me
board.
just reel you in a little bit and just narrowly focus. Elaine said we're going to go beyond ICE grabbing the dangerous criminals. She wants to remove illegal immigrants and use the state police to do that. Your take on that initiative?
Well, it seems like she wants a Gestapo state, and I'm against it.
You want a socialist state. You want a wonderful little happy city like they have in California and different places. No, I'm sorry.
I don't even know how to answer that.
Rhode Island right now needs help. We are taxed to the max. We are strained. People are taking a lot of benefits that we are paying for. We pay for all that. And they're taking it from people like seniors, from low-income families that really need a help because right now they might need a temporary break just to get back on their feet.
What does it mean she wants a Gestapo state? Isn't that a little
Well, it just
strong?
seems like she wants to go through and arrest everyone and get them out of here, and it's just too complicated. There's
Did you
all
hear
sorts of
what
legal
I
issues.
said?
Yes, I heard what you had.
I said criminals and people who are abusing the system. And okay, yes, there should be some way.
No, you didn't.
Not
You
right
said
now.
all of them.
Just
Now
like,
you're starting to change
No, I
your-
didn't.
Okay.
No, I said this is where we're going to start. Okay, and then also with. President Trump, he even said it would be nice to have a pathway to citizenship. Go back home, we'll give you a ticket, go back home, file the papers, and you come back
Now we're
because
going to
there
give
are
them a ticket?
people.
Okay. How are you going to manage that?
They get a free ticket. Don't you watch TV?
They're going to give a free
Yeah.
ticket? Okay.
What did you mean when you said he wants a socialist state?
Because it sounds like these smart cities is, we'll have little pods here, a little pods there, a little pod for this group, a little pod for that group. No, Rhode Island wants to be a capitalist, free enterprise state, or at least I know a lot of Republicans want that. We want a chance to buy a home, afford a home, buy the car we want, and not have all these crazy green energy mandates on it. I want to keep the combustion and.
A couple of interesting items you've both just kind of led us to. Future cities, some would say it's here. I just came up the service road, red light camera caught me. I don't know if I passed a flock cam, I probably did. What's your take on flock cam, license plate readers, red light camera, school bus cams, and everything else we have in Providence? You want to take them out?
You know what, here's the thing right now. It basically does go after some of our amendment rights. And we have like the 4th Amendment, the 14th Amendment. There's certain issues that those cameras are affecting our rights. But at this time, I don't like them. I don't want them. However, they do have a good purpose, because if we can meet with the police or meet with the officials and start to figure out what we can do and who's monitoring it, because it does catch criminals. So now the way it is, no, I don't like them. But if they can work it where it's more, it's not Gestapo, then we can keep them.
You're going to live with them. You're not crazy about them, but you'll live with them. Aaron, go ahead. Your take on that. Then we're going to move to affordable housing. Go ahead. Your take on the flock cameras and the surveillance state.
Well, we have so much government creep right now. Sometimes I think it's the Truman Show. We have these flock cameras where I think if we work with law enforcement, we definitely have to lower these. It's very concerning, but there are times that you need them in certain strategic spots. I think I call it taxation by citation in regards to these speed cameras and red light cameras. It's like a government ATM. I think if we work with the cities and towns, in North Kingstown they're on from 7 in the morning to 6 at night. I think you could have a speed bump. You could put spray paint, just like they do in Europe, 30 miles an hour, because what happens is when you're going from town to town, you don't know what the speed limit is. And people are getting hit constantly. And then they talk about schools. It could be on for an hour before, an hour and after. But we all know what this is, and everyone's getting hit by it. So they're using this because, unfortunately, the legislature keeps pressing down all of the pressure of all of these taxes and fees and what they do at the legislature, so they got to jack the property taxes. Our property taxes in East Greenwich are almost 7%.
Aaron, we were talking about flock cameras. I'm going to try to narrowly keep you on topic. Let's go to affordable housing. The Democrats are pushing it. Governor McKee later is going to tell us how many affordable housing units he's built. And Helena Folks is going to tell us where she put her millionaire's tax to build affordable housing. And you're right, you mentioned East Greenwich. They built affordable housing, I think 4 more units. What's your plan? Is it your place as the governor to push for affordable housing, or let the market determine it?
First of all, affordable housing sounds great in theory again, but if you're going to put massive condo units and in little towns that the infrastructure cannot handle, you got the roads, the sewers, the schools, and now you got to buy more school buses because there'll be more children living in the towns. And it just doesn't make sense. To me, why don't you build up? You can go to the big cities, and there's plenty of vacant lots, plenty of places they can build if you're going to do affordable housing. And what I don't like either is I found a lot of these affordable housing units are co-paid by the state. We're giving them money to build, builders to build, and only a certain, I think 10 to 20% are actually for affordable housing. The rest of them are full price when people can cover Massachusetts, and that's a bargain for them.
Okay.
But I'm not for it. Sorry.
So the legislature and they have pushed affordable housing on the 39 cities and towns hard.
I don't like
hard.
It.
You don't like that?
No, because it's destroying our infrastructure in small towns.
Okay.
And no.
Aaron, let's go on that affordable housing. They're pushing. Some towns push back. Johnston said don't want it. You know what's going on in Johnson? Then we'll get to the bridge. That's the topic we've been holding here. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah,
affordable
Tip
housing.
O'Neill always said all politics are local. And I think that a lot of the cities and towns have felt like they've been pushed around, and now they've pushed back. One of the things I'm really advocating is for the taxpayer. And that's why the people that work for us, especially also the things that I was talking about in regards to union workers, the skilled trade, and also the nurses, we need to get housing, and we need to start using pallet and modular homes in certain areas. And then we need to get transportation. We are going to have such an expansion of jobs, and if we don't have some sort of support system, and we don't work with the building trades and all of the people that, like the engineers, and we don't have a pipeline for all of that, we won't take advantage of our most strategic asset, which is Quonset Point.
Okay, Aaron, but on affordable housing, the Democrats under this particular legislature with this governor have been pushing that like crazy.
Yeah, they've gone way too far. They need to negotiate and work with all of the cities and towns because it's gone too fast.
Okay.
There's a farm in my town, East Greenwich, where they just gone fast. It's too fast, and then they haven't been able to go through it. They have to go through the process, much like that sludge plant in North Kingstown. They have to go through the process. I was the former chairman of the Warwick Sewer Authority. I was on that board for 10 years. Talk about experience. and it was $1 billion asset.
Okay.
So I went through these processes with all of developers, and it's so
Aaron,
important
I just
that
want to
we work
remind
on
you,
it.
if you could just narrowly focus on the topic. We're going to try to get as much as we can. Let's go to the bridge.
Okay.
Let's go to the bridge. All right, there's pre-bridge, before the emergency, and post-bridge. Now, pre-bridge, the governor's going to tell you, we hired inspectors, we hired companies, they failed us, like a doctor would fail you, and we're going to sue them for malpractice. Is that the narrative? Do you believe that?
Oh, I believe it. Here's the thing. Think about it. Some young people that were engineers just happened to be going down the bottom of the bridge and they saw it falling apart. Now, how come all these inspectors from the past, 10, 15 years didn't see it crumbling, as other bridges are too? All I know is there was no day of reckoning for Alviti. And I'm saying, when I'm governor, I hope he's in the witness protection program right now, because what I would do is I would have him call back and I would have an investigation again into him by my Department of Accountability.
Let me just follow this.
That's quite a charge.
Yeah, well, guess what? It's quite a mess he made.
Yeah, just because he made a mess, you're talking about the witness protection program.
It's a joke. Do you know what a joke is? That's why it's a joke.
That didn't sound like a joke. That sounded like you were...
No, I said he better be in a witness protection program so I don't find him and tell him to come back.
You can't joke as governor. You start saying those types of things, you get into trouble, and you get sued.
Oh, Aaron, grow up. It's...
Well, that's offensive to me that you just said grow up. And by the way, I'm offended.
I'm sorry. Forgive me. But seriously?
It's unfortunate.
Oh, honey. I mean, Aaron.
Now you're calling me honey. Wow.
I do that for everybody. But seriously, it was a joke and not...
Let me just refocus. You just agreed with the narrative that the inspectors and construction companies failed DOT. You said that's true. Why did the young person so late find the broken pins? But then you want to put Alviti in witness protection.
No,
doesn't that apply to him?
Okay, again, there was my joke.
No, I'm not offended by it, but I'm just using your own words.
No, I didn't say he's going to. I said if he's in it, I can't find him.
You sort of bought the narrative that it wasn't the state's fault. They hired inspectors and construction companies that failed them. Alviti is the state, failed him. Why do you want to pin it on him?
Why want? No, I said if he's in one already, I won't be able to find him. But if I can find him, I'd like to bring him back and talk to him. But the thing is, we need to start having more in-house construction instead of hiring all these different companies.
That's different.
And doing
In-house
contracts.
inspections, then. That's completely different. By the way, the DOT doesn't build anything. We hire builders. You would change that model?
I would, and when you're in the DOT, again, merit-based hiring, I would try to keep as many people in-house to do the jobs.
Okay, I just want to understand this.
You guys really get messed up on that one.
I just want to be clear.
Huh?
The DOT doesn't build bridges. The DOT hires companies that build bridges. It's essentially, we sign the paperwork. We don't have bridge builders in the DOT. Would you change that? Would you actually have the DOT do construction? That'd be a different model than we work on there.
Well, you know what? That might be something to look into, because maybe that would save the taxpayers money and it won't be as expensive as hiring out-of-state contractors.
Just want to be sure we understand this. Let's go to the pre-emergency. The narrative is the inspectors, the construction companies we hired failed us like a doctor would fail you. The governor said, I'm suing them for malpractice. Do you buy into that narrative? And then we'll get to post-emergency.
Yes, you got to use the full weight of the governor's office. There was a mess. It's been a long time coming. And there's big problems. But when you have a problem like this, you identify it, you do full transparency, you work with lawyers to try to recoup as much money as you possibly can, you work directly with the president to see what he can do. In addition, you work with the team as quickly as possible to identify it, the engineers and the construction trades, to try to figure out how we can expedite this. In addition, my friend Buddy Croft, he was in Turnpike Bridge Authority. He is retired. You bring back talent, the Rhode Island talent that can maybe help us, and you lean into the talent. We have got to get our roads and bridges moving faster, and we all know that the whole state's under construction.
Okay.
I think communication is the most important thing. This is going to take some time, but I don't think there's enough updates with the right people and the right experts saying, I would have a weekly press conference saying, here we are. This is what we're doing. Progress, not perfection. And I think with 18, 24 months, we can figure this out.
Just to recap, the narrative, the inspectors failed us. Governor McKee is suing them for malpractice. You agree with that?
Yeah, we have to use.
Listen, do you agree with that narrative?
Yeah, I think that you
Okay.
have to use every single power. That we have to go after everyone that has done us wrong.
Okay. Post-emergency, okay, now the reconstruction, the tearing down. Elaine, did you think that bridge had to be torn down? Or do you think it could have been saved? And are you satisfied with the progress we're making now in beginning to rebuild the replacement?
Well, since I'm not an engineer, I couldn't give you those specifics. But if it needed to be torn down, that's what needed to be done. But it needs to be built as quickly as possible.
And the governor's timetable is not fast enough for you? I think he just outlined that yesterday.
Pardon?
The
Oh,
governor's
no, no.
timetable-
Again, other states, a bridge can fall into the water, and within a few months even, it's back up. Here, it takes years and years for them to put up a few
I have to be
pillars.
fair to the governor. Could you show me an incident where that's happened? Because the one in Maryland is not a valid. It's not a valid example anymore. It's going to take years to put that. Ours will be up before that one's up. Do you have? Can you point out? Well, this
Well,
was done
I see it in
faster
Louisiana
here.
and Florida. They have a lot of that where there's small bridges, or because they're over a lot of water, along waterways, and a piece will fall in, and they'll have that built up in a few months because people need to. It's a main highway; they need it all the time.
Okay, Aaron, apples and oranges, and post-emergency, your take on how McKee went out for bid and the building so far.
Well, I think the bid process was wrong. Obviously, there was only one person. I don't think anyone bid on it.
First time around, no bids.
First time around, so that was a failure. But he addressed that. You can see the point. Now we need to move on. I think when you have a situation like this, you don't want to keep talking about what the problems are. You need to get to the solution. And I would work with the trades like Armin Sabatoni, Michael Sabatoni, Dan Bianco, Local 51. You bring them together, but also as governor, I should say, and also you can work with the president as a Republican, and you can say, Mr. President, we need help. Can you get the Army Corps of Engineers here? Can you get us some more grants? How can you facilitate and help this? Because if we can't figure this out, right, our commerce is going to go down, and specifically, again, Quonset Point, it's so important that we are able to move, and right now we're almost like 2 states.
Yeah. Okay. Staying on transportation, truck tolls are about to go up again. They were up, they took them down, we went to court, we prevailed, they're going up again. Elaine, Pelino, would you bring truck tolls back?
No, I don't want the truck tolls. First of all, that doesn't help us at all. All it does is make a lot of the trucks start to use our side roads and smaller highways and clog the traffic. And second of all, it's just, no, there's other ways we can make money. That's what we need to do, sit down and find out where are good places that we can gain money for the taxes.
I think that's been largely dispelled. The trucks are not diverting. You may have one every now and then.
Well, they go by my house a lot now. They did it
but
before,
the DOT will say there hasn't been the diversion that was promised. But you don't want truck tolls? And if they said, well, how are you going to come up with that $40 million?
No, it's not fair to small Rhode Island businesses that have a smaller truck or a box truck where they have to make several deliveries a day, and every time they go by there, they're getting taxed. It's not just the interstate trucks that are going by, it's also our smaller businesses.
That's probably a sentiment. Your sentiment is probably shared by most Rhode Islanders. They don't want truck tolls. But they're coming back, Aaron, on truck tolls. Would you pull the plug if governor?
Yeah, pull the plug. I'd work with the Rhode Island Truckers Association, the executive director, Chris Maxwell. He's an expert. I know this is really hurting our great companies like JobLot, for example. And if we keep doing this, right, they could move out of here, much like Hasbro. So there's a major concern here. In regards to saving these dollars, we're trying to, first, I would talk to, again, the federal government. And then second, I would talk about, again, Rhode Island works smarter. We're $15.2 billion. Massachusetts spends $10 billion per million. They've got a budget of $70 billion for 7 million people. If they're at $10 billion, New Hampshire's at $8 billion, 1 million people, and Delaware's at 7, we could easily trim off $500 million to at least $1 billion off of this bloated budget.
We're getting close to closing statements. Now, this leads us into the area of how you would govern as a Republican dealing with an overwhelmingly Democrat legislature. Let's say that you want to get rid of the truck tolls, and the Speaker and the Senate President say no. And we're counting on that money. No. What would you do?
Again, I would, work with the truckers unions, and I would work with everybody I need to talk to and see what we can do. I would try to talk to the Speaker of the House and all, the people involved. But the main thing is, if I can't change it or fix it, what I can do is I can actually podcast at night by my, and expose what they're doing and let them know that the Democrats are the ones that are ruining the state and causing all the problems with the taxes, and we need to make them accountable and vote them out next time.
Well, to get what you want, generally a Republican governor would have to be very adept at horse trading. Appointments, you run the departments. Are you willing to go down that game and play hardball with the legislature? I want what I want.
Yeah, I will.
Look, you know more about that. Cucciari had to do that when he was in. He was a Republican governor and Democrat legislature. If you want to get rid of the truck tolls and the Speaker says no and the Senate President says no, what are you going to do?
Well, first of all, I was eyewitness of power, and those 8 years gave me great experience. You can't teach experience.
As a wife's driver.
Well, Mrs. Cucciari passed away, and
I'm sorry.
yeah. So again, you offended me, but that's okay.
You want a fact check? You want a fact checker?
Yeah. Mrs. Cucciari. First of all, I was a special assistant. I liaised with the federal government. I did all the day-to-day with Maura Sedlock, who was a scheduler and the speechwriter. So I know all of the different departments. You constantly had to communicate with the colonel and the adjutant general, who's the head of the National Guard. So the bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, I know this office, and so when you have to make that transition, it's not new to me. So that's very, very important.
That's why none of the people that worked for him support you. In fact, one woman who is now the chief of staff for the General Assembly said that, and she made it public, that you basically took credit for all her work.
Well, are you suggesting that Aaron has inflated his resume, that he was more of a driver than an assistant to the governor?
Well, he was an assistant, and yeah, it is.
So all I
what
said
it is.
was I was a special assistant, director of advance. Everyone knows in that building what I did.
Advanced man is you go in to make sure everything's
I don't think
okay.
you actually know what I
Yeah,
did, but I know that people would, and actually Governor Cucciari could speak to it because he's in New Hampshire. And he's
Is there a
one of my
question you have about her background as presented, her business experience?
Well, yeah, there's gaps, and you said that you're a chief of staff of Cantor Fitzgerald. I mean, that's quite a situation. And if it's true, it's true. She didn't communicate it to the Province Journal.
I still
What are you
have
showing?
my badge.
Is that your badge for
Just
Cantor
because you have a
Fitzgerald?
badge to Cantor Fitzgerald doesn't mean you're the chief of staff.
No, because I was the
Like,
only,
I could have a badge and I could be, and this is no disrespect, you could
put it
be
this
anyone
way,
that's
there were
working.
only 5 people on the whole floor. It was Mr. Cantor, the treasurer, and a couple of vice presidents, and me. So I was the staff. So I'm
You're
the
the
one
staff, but not the chief of staff. And when you start using those words and you can't prove them on your resume, people think of that as chief of staff of Cantor Fitzgerald. Wow, she must have extreme qualifications.
I ran
have an
all these
MBA.
foundations.
I have a master's of music.
Let's be fair to both of you. You had a responsible role.
Yes.
Very small staff. Are you kind of overlapping? Well, I acted like a chief of staff as opposed to have the official
I had to sit in all the
title.
board of directors meetings. I had like the highest security that you can get.
What did it say on your business card?
I don't have a business.
Well, do you remember? What
Do you
was
know
your
what
title?
happened?
Chief of staff?
No, I don't have. I have other ones that I saved from a few years ago.
Well, I would remember if I was chief of staff. Were you chief of staff officially, or was it? You just mean I had the responsibilities of chief of staff?
Yes, I did. I was, and I also was executive assistant to Mr. Cantor.
Wait a minute, executive assistant. That's a big difference to chief of staff.
All right.
I played many hats. I had to do, and I also was in charge of the foundations where I had to, take care of.
Okay. All right. We're not
Oh
going to
my
go back.
God,
We
huh?
won't go back and forth. You both have raised that. And by the way, that's been raised in other forums. Lightning round. You're both Second Amendment.
Yes.
Pro-gun rights.
Support
do you
the
own
Second
a gun,
Amendment.
Elaine?
Pardon?
Do you own a gun?
Yes, I do.
You do. You're proudly a
I've
gun
been
owner.
shooting since I was 20. That's a long time.
Right. And Aaron Guckian, do you own a gun?
I do not, but I support the Second Amendment in the Constitution.
Are the Democrats overreaching with the assault weapons ban?
Absolutely, and it was proven in New Jersey. Supreme Court overruled that, and I think they'll take another shot. They'll probably analyze this particular law.
All right.
I think right now, if you look at different countries, specifically in Iran and Ukraine, if they were armed and had militia, and that's why we have a constitution, because if you lose the Second Amendment, you lose the First Amendment, and it's extremely dangerous.
Okay. We're getting toward our closing arguments. Just time for one more question. It's going to go back to the original question. The Republican message has not sold Why do you think it'll sell this time? Take 30 seconds and we're going to go to closings. Elaine, Pelino, why do you think you're going to sell it this time?
I think we're going to sell it this time because we are one election away from socialism. And as a MAGA Republican and a constitutional conservative, I would be a great governor that could make sure that we're fair but strict with our state.
Aaron, full circle before we go to closing statements. Why do you think what you're selling will work this time, since none of it has worked before for the Republicans? Sorry to say.
Because we're taxed into the Stone Age, and people, our electricity bills and the green mandates, it doesn't work.
Okay.
And we can't even attract business. We just lost Hasbro. And the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, is we need big change, big ideas, and that's Aaron Guckian for governor.
Let's go to closing statements. Elaine, you'll address your camera. 1 minute.
Okay. I just want to say this just comes down to right now what's really going on in Rhode Island. Now, Aaron likes to talk a big game, but look at his record. He's flip-flop. He has he's Second Amendment rights. He flip-flops on that, too. And he's saying he's pro-life, but that's debatable because he had admitted before he wasn't. And he also donated to Democrats like Dan McKee and Joe Sicarci, the same people who are raising your taxes, taking your rights, and running this state into the ground. I'm not going to apologize for being a real MAGA Republican. I support President Trump's America First program, and I will defend your rights to bear arms, and let's stop socialism in its tracks. I'm here for Rhode Island. I'm one of you. Vote for Elaine Pelino.
Elaine, thank you. Aaron Guckian, address your camera. 1 minute closer.
Well, thank you, Gene, and thank you to NBC Channel 10. I'm here because we're the state of twos. Too many taxes, too many fees, too many speed cameras, and everyone's had enough. They're fed up. And I have the experience, the qualifications. I worked for 2 major banks. I raised millions in charity at the Rhode Island Foundation. I was the executive director of the Rhode Island Dental Association. Bottom line is, my parents, my father, my mother, and my 3 daughters, I'm doing it for them. I love my family. I love my state. And we need a big change. So please vote for Aaron Guckian September 9th. And I hope you have a great night.
Aaron, thanks. Thanks to both of you. I think it was a good, vigorous exchange. I think we got a taste of the difference between the two of you. And I'm glad you're shaking hands at the end. And good luck to both of you. May the best Republican primary candidate win in the eyes of the voters. Thank you. In the meantime, thank you for joining us. By the way, if you're joining us live, we've been on from 4 to 5. The Democrats are coming up 7 o'clock tonight. Again, if you're joining us day of. If you're watching the Labor Day repeats, the Republicans will be rebroadcast 7 p.m. in prime time on Labor Day, and the Democrats will go earlier in an effort to be fair and balanced. That brings us to the close of this debate between the Republican Party candidates for governor of Rhode Island, Aaron Guckian and Elaine Pelino. Our thanks to both of you for coming in. We appreciate it. And our thanks to the Providence Performing Arts Center for accommodating us. I think it was a different venue, and I think it worked out just fine. We invite all of you once again to watch our Democratic candidate debate coming up at 7 o'clock. Again, if you're watching us live today, at 7 o'clock tonight with Helena Folks and Governor McKee. That should be hopefully as equal a vigorous exchange between the two of them. If you're watching on Labor Day, the time was flipped. Republicans are coming up at 7 o'clock. The Democrats are going a little early. In the meantime, that's going to do it for us. From downtown Providence, I'm Gene Valicenti. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on all of our newscasts for a recap of the debate action today. Have a good rest of your day from PPAC, the Providence Performing Arts Center. Thank you.
Now at 5, a tragic turn. A woman hit while walking her dog in Fall River dies. We're live with the heartbreaking update.